Hello lovelies, my name is DK Oni and you're welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to show you how to cut an off-shoulder bodice. So for this tutorial, we're going to cut directly on our fabric, which is also known as the freehand method. So here is our fabric unfold for the front, and to get the width of the fabric unfold is the bust divided by 4 plus 4 inches. So the bust is 34 divided by 4, 8.5 plus 4 inches. I have 12.5 inches like so. So I'm going to go ahead and impute the shoulder. Our shoulder is 14.5 divided by 2, 7.25 plus half of an inch, that is 7.75. So I'm going to impute it from the folded part of the fabric like so at the top of my fabric. After that, we're going to impute our measurement. So her neckline depth is 6 inches, but since we are cutting directly on the fabric, I'm going to use 5.5 inches for our neckline depth like so. So we're going to calculate the armhole depth, which is also known as the chest line. That is the bust divided by 6, that is 34 divided by 6, plus 2 inches, plus 1 inch for the shoulder slope, plus half of an inch for ease. So I got a total of 9.1 inches. So you're going to place your tape using the neckline depth of 5.5 inches, like so. 5.5 inches, you place it at the top of your fabric and impute 9.1 inch, which is going to serve as the chest line and also as the armhole depth. So I'm going to go ahead and rule out the marks I made. So we're going to go ahead and impute our shoulder to bust measurement, which is 9 inches. There's half of an inch for joining allowance, that is 9.5. So I'm going to go ahead and place the 5.5, which is for her neckline depth, and mark out the shoulder to bust points like so, as you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and mark her shoulder to waist measurement. Place your 5.5 at the top of your fabric and locate 17 inches. That is 16 inches plus 1 inch allowance, give me 17 inches like so. So I'm going to impute the shoulder measurement on the chest line, that is 7.75 inches. You mark it on the chest line. Then use your ruler to connect the two dots like so. So I'm going to go ahead and impute her nipple to nipple, which is 6 divided by 2, 3 plus half of an inch, that is 3.5. Impute it at the top and the waistline like so. So you're going to mark 3.5 all across the fabric from the folded side of the fabric like so. So I'm going to go ahead and use ruler to connect the dotted lines I created. Then I'm going to go ahead and extend the shoulder to bust point onto the nipple to nipple line like so. After that, at the top of my fabric, I'm going to mark half of an inch on both sides of the nipple to nipple line like so, and I'm going to also do that also on the waistline. Mark out half of an inch on both sides of the nipple to nipple line like so. So on the shoulder to bust point, I'm going to go up by half of an inch like so, half of an inch above the bust point and half of an inch beneath the bust point like so. So I'm going to go ahead and use my ruler to connect the dart legs like so. Connect it to the half of an inch above the bust point and connect the half of an inch beneath the bust point to the waist line to create your dart legs like so. After that, on the folded part of my fabric, I'm going to come down by 0.75 inch. It's going to serve as my neckline. You can create whatever neckline you want. So at the top of my fabric, I'm going to mark half of an inch on both sides of the dart leg to aid the impute of the measurement. So on the chest line also, I'm going to mark 0.5 of an inch on both sides of the nipple to nipple point, which is also going to serve as the dart leg like so. So I'm going to also repeat the same thing on the waistline. You mark half of an inch on both sides of the dart legs. It's going to actually assist us when we're imputing the measurement like so. So on the waistline, I'm going to impute our waist measurement, which is 28 divided by 4, 7 inches. So just watch the way I'm going to place my tape. So I'm going to place my tape starting from the folded part of the fabric, which is also known as the center front of the fabric. So I placed it and I have 2.75 inch. Just watch the way I place my tape. So I'm going to lift up the 2.75 inch and continue on the other side of the dart leg, like so. Take note that I'm placing my tape on the 1/2 inch that I marked on both sides of the dart leg. So I'm going to impute the waist measurement, which is 7 plus 2 inches for the seam allowance, like so. Then after that, I'm going to place the bust measurement on the chest line. So the bust is 34 divided by 4, 8.5 inches. So watch the way I'm going to place my tape. So I'm going to place my tape from the folded part of my fabric, which is the center front of my fabric, like so. You can see the way I placed my tape. That is, I have 3 inches. So I'm going to lift up the 3 inches and continue to the other side of the dart leg. Place my 3 inches and impute my 8.5 inches, like so. And after that, I'm going to mark 0.3 of an inch, which is going to serve as ease around the arm hole, like so. Then after that, you mark the seam allowance of 2 inches. So I'm going to use my ruler and connect the waistline and the bust line, like so. So on the folded part of the fabric, I am going to impute the across front. Our across front is 12.5. Divide by 2, I have 6.25. So watch the way I'm going to place my tape. So I place it from the folded part of the fabric, like so. I have 2.5, like so. So I'm going to lift up that 2.5 and continue to the side of the dart leg, like so. Then impute 6.25, which is across front divided by 2. So I'm going to go ahead and add 1 inch for the seam allowance, like so. So I took my ruler and connected the lines, like so. So I'm going to come out by 1 inch to create an arc to guide me to create my armhole curve, like so, as you can see. So after that, on the folded part of the fabric, which is going to serve as the neckline at the top of the fabric, I'm just going to create the neckline I so desire. You can create any neckline you want. So I'm going to go ahead and cut through the lines I created. Just watch where I'm cutting through, like so. So the fabric unfold for the back is the bust divided by 4 plus 5, which is 13.5. So I'm going to mark out the zipper allowance by the center back, like so. So from the zipper allowance line, I'm going to mark out the shoulder. Just watch where I'm going to place my tape. The shoulder is 7.75, the same shoulder we used for the front. So I'm going to place the neckline depth, that is 5.5, and locate the chest line, that is 9.1, like so. So I'm going to cross check by imputing my shoulder measurement, like so. As you can see, just like repeating what we did at the front to the back. So I'm going to go ahead and impute the half length, which is 17 inches. After that, so from the center back, I'm going to place the nipple to nipple inches, that is 6 divided by 2 plus half of an inch, that is 3.5. So I'm going to go ahead and connect the lines I created. Then after that, at the top of my fabric, I'm going to impute half of an inch on both sides of the nipple to nipple line, and also at the waistline, I'm going to do the same thing, like so. So I'm going to go in by half of an inch at the waistline to contour the back. So I'm going to make sure I connect it and it's going to align with the chest line, like so. Then I'm going to impute my zipper allowance of 1 inch, like so. This is just a repeat of what I did to the front bodice, like so. Rule out the line. That is going to serve as the zipper allowance, because you know our back is not straight. So I'm going to go ahead and mark out her nip to waist, which is 15 inches plus 1 inch for the allowance. So impute your neck depth of 5.5 and mark the nip to waist, which is 16 inches. As we all know, the front half length and the back half length are not equal. So I'm going to go ahead and extend the line to locate my chest line, like so. So I'm going to mark out 1/2 inch on both sides of the nipple to nipple line on the chest line, like so. So I'm going to go ahead and impute my bust measurement on the chest line, just like we did on the front bodice. So watch the way I'm going to place my tape. Lift up the 3, continue on the other side, and place 8.5 inches is the bust, plus 0.3 for the ease and 2 inches for the seam allowance. So on the waistline, I'm going to also repeat the same thing, but now I'm going to start from the 1/2 inch I went in by to contour the bodice, like so. Continue. So just watch the way I'm going to place my tape. I placed it from the 1/2 inch I used to contour the bodice. Continue and place my 7 inches for the waist and place 2 inches for the seam allowance. Remember that whatever it is you use to contour the center back is what you use to contour the center back of your skirt also. So on the center back of the zipper area, I'm going to come down by 1.5 inch. You can decide to come down by 2 inches. It's always between 1.5 and 2 inches. So I'm going to impute our across back measurement starting from the center back, like so. Just watch the way I place my tape. Lift up the 3 inches and continue to the other side of the nipple to nipple line and impute 6.5, because our across back is 13 divided by 2, 6.5 plus 1 inch allowance. So I'm going to go ahead and connect the lines, like so. Create an arc of 1 inch and mark out my armhole curve. Don't mind me, I'm trying to make this as detailed as possible. So the 1.5 inch I marked on the center back, I'm going to connect it like so, as you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and reshape it like so. So that's it for the back bodice. Then you go ahead and notch the nip to waist to guide you when you want to cut it off while sewing. Continue cutting through like so. There's nothing much, just repeating the same thing you did to the front bodice onto the back bodice. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.